nasty people, offensive people, angry people, people who criticise, people who gossip, people who say nasty things on purpose. The world seems to be full of a lot of that stuff, particularly on social media, of course. And if you put yourself out to the world, is it possible that the world will criticise you? If you do something of value, is it possible the world will criticise you? This library in my home is filled with books of successful people, sports people, business people, musicians, artists, people who are doing what they love or have done what they love all of their life. And I think that is to be respected. But that's just my opinion. Everybody that's in books behind me and everybody that has done an interview or talked about their success in life will share with you that there are people who don't like them, who say horrible things about them, who are negative about them and want to pull them down. It just seems that there are lots of people in the world and some of them are horrible. And that means if you live in this world, there's going to be some horrible people. But in a world where we're now bringing up kids that are very sensitive to, are very hurt by criticism, gossip, nasty comments on social media, if you have children in your life, future adults in your life, how do you teach them to be tough and strong and resilient? How do you do that? And I've got this really great idea. To me, it's just common sense and logic. Certainly adds massive value to my life. How's that for a pre-frame? Turn it off. Don't read it. Don't watch it. Don't listen to it. Don't put it into your head. There's lots of bad news in the world, for example, but most of the bad news that we are delivered on a regular basis, we have absolutely no control over. So whether we heard it or not, it wouldn't change our life. It's happened somewhere in the world where to the person that it's happened to, very sad, or the people or the country that it's happening to, very sad, but we can't do anything about it. But if you put that negative stuff into your head, it could mess with your headspace. Would that be fair? But what about our kids? What about our little kids who don't actually understand what's going on? They don't know how to deal with it. They just hear all this negative stuff all of the time. So I'm very privileged as an old lady, and I love sharing that because I feel very wise. I turned the radio off about 20, maybe even 30 years ago now. It was a very long time ago. I can't remember that. I hate listening to the radio because I don't want to listen to other people's music, and other people have the right to their opinion, of course. Everyone's got the right to have an opinion. But I don't want to be continually bombarded with other people's opinions. I want to work it out for myself. So I don't listen to the radio, and I certainly have nothing to do with the news. And I share this on a regular basis. In the defense of the news, they have to make it dramatic, scary, terrifying, horrible, awful, because otherwise people wouldn't watch it. But I don't want to put that stuff into my headspace. Now, some people share with me, but sometimes there's great news stories. Well, I heard a really good analogy for that. That's my puppy dog's telling me to say hello. Hello! You can search through a rubbish bin and you might find a healthy apple. Somebody might have thrown their healthy apple away. But I don't want to search through the rubbish to find something great. And I don't want the reputation of an old lady that's searching through the rubbish bin trying to find something great. And that's my definition of the news, of social media, of the newspaper, of what we're bombarded with every day that people think is actually true. Now, we know that it's not true. It's been either dramatized and exaggerated, or it's just simply not true. So just turn it off. Now, when it comes to social media, or when it comes to people that you don't like, or jokes that you find offensive, or opinions that you don't agree with, or diets that you don't think will work, or exercise programs that are stupid, why watch them? You don't have to. If you think that that's going to offend you, or if you are watching something and you are finding it offensive, or it's hurting your feelings, or you feel yucky because you're watching it, turn it the hell off. Could that be a great idea? I often hear this from comedians because I have a lot of comedians in my life. And this is one of the toughest. I'm a professional speaker. That for me, comedy is the toughest of all professional speaking. People who get paid to be funny. So hundreds, if not thousands of people come to watch them or expect to be made to laugh. That's really tough. And the comedians are all sharing with me now that there are so many things they can't talk about and not allowed to talk about because people get offended. Well, there's two things there. Toughen up and get some thick skin. It's comedy, and we're meant to laugh at the horrible things in the world. We're meant to laugh at the stuff that everybody's upset about, because then we can think more clearly when you're laughing. But if you don't like the comedian, or you don't like jokes, don't go to a comedy show. If you don't like that comedian, don't go to that comedy show. Don't watch that YouTube video. Don't watch that movie. Don't go to that person's house. I always use that as an example with family. People complain to me about horrible family who treat them badly. Well, don't go. Why would you bang your head against a brick wall? It hurts. When you stop banging your head against a brick wall, it stops hurting. So every device you have has an off button. You can actually turn it off. And one of the things I giggle about this every day, because I spend a lot of time on my own and a lot of time with nothing. I don't have any music playing. I don't have any learnings going into my head. I just have me in my headspace. And that's when I get to think clearly, brainstorm with myself, plan my life, goal set, just enjoy being by myself. But there are a lot of people who share with me they can't do that. They need to be listening to something, to have something in their head going all of the time that isn't their own thoughts. And I get that because I've lived there before. And is it possible that, and all I share with you very personally, that's because I didn't like who I was. And it seems that there's a connection between I don't like who I am, so I'm going to pull other people down. I'm going to gossip about other people. I'm going to find what they say offensive. I'm going to disagree with them. I'm going to argue with them. Pretty easy on social media to have an argument. That's a great quote that's going around at the moment. If you want to have an argument, post something on social media. Somebody will disagree with you. And isn't that awesome? Everyone has the right to their opinion. You don't have to listen to it though. If somebody says something nasty, you don't have to argue with them. I always find this interesting because a lot of my students at the Max International Colleges share with me that, somebody's making horrible comments, and then I send a message back and they disagree with me and it gets into a horrible argument. There is a great quote for that too. If you've got two idiots arguing, the other idiot will beat you on experience every single time, because if you are arguing with somebody that's an idiot, you are one too. Doesn't that make sense? And I learnt that a really long time ago. So I don't want to argue with, and I absolutely love that everybody has the right to their own opinion, and I really respect that. But I don't have to listen to it. And isn't it exciting that you don't have to either? You don't have to watch it. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to read it. You don't have to disagree with it, because if you don't put it into your head in the first place, you don't have to have that argument. And this is the reason I share this, as I do on a regular basis. We all have 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week, 365 days in a year, and we don't know how many of those we're going to get. Particularly, we don't know how many years we're going to get. And wouldn't it be awful that the last day of your life, or the last hour of your life, or the last 50 years of your life, you wasted arguing with people on social media, listening to negative, nasty rubbish, being criticised by other people and believing it? There's a great question to be asked about criticism. The person that's criticising you, would you always take their advice? Would you like to live their life? A lot of people will say nasty things about you, but if you look into their life, you wouldn't want to live like that. I'm sure you would not want to live like that. And the reason I share that with you is because I am on social media every day, and have shared many times. I've been doing this a very long time. Yes, social media, but I've been sending out newsletters. I've been sending out personal handwritten letters. I've been talking to people on the phone, sending out text messages. I was the first person to get onto email. We're the first college to have a phone app. I have been sending positivity and happiness and great education out to the world all of my life, which means if I'm sending it out there, it's going to get criticised. I remember some really, really interesting, nasty, horrible comments. I used to produce a 100-page colour gloss magazine every month. There's a lot of work involved in producing a magazine, and 99.9% of the comments about that magazine were awesome, but there was always, every month, it wasn't if somebody would say somebody, it would just be who is it this month that's going to say something nasty. And they would say nasty things about the font or the colour of somebody's hair, or I don't like the way that paragraph was constructed. Or the funniest one is when people send you a message to say, there's typos in that magazine. Well, you can't reprint the magazine. It only comes out every month. We don't reprint it again next month. If there's a typo in there, there's a typo in there. And there's I've got a really funny photo. I went to talking about typos, I went to a rock concert with Bryan Adams, one of my favourite performers, and there was thousands and thousands of people there. And of course, when it's at a festival type situation, when you go in, they have a place where you can leave your bag, but they also search your bag before you go into the concert. And the sign out the front said bag Serach, SERACH. Now, obviously it was meant to say search. I just took a photo of it because I laughed. Everyone knows what it means. So many people made comment about how unprofessional that sign spelt wrong. But they obviously had already spent the money on the sign and figured that the people would get it. I'm sharing that with you because we seem to waste so much time, not even spend time, we seem to waste so much time pointing out the ugly, pointing out the horrible, pointing out the offensive, pointing out what we don't like. How about we find the stuff that we do like? I call it rose-coloured glasses because my name is Ro. I have the ultimate Ro-coloured glasses, which are positivity, happiness, joy. Somebody said to me this week, Rowie, you've got 20 acres, what do you grow on your property? I said, joy and happiness, that's it. And shouldn't life be like that? Happy every day. So turn it off. If you don't like it, don't watch it. If you don't like the person, don't listen to them. If you have an argument with somebody, why would you bother? You don't know how many days, months or years you've got, and why would you want to waste any one of those minutes, days, months or years arguing with people that you're not going to change their mind anyway, so why would you bother? Live your life to the max, doing what you love to do every day. Could that be a really good idea?